Hi fam, it's Dylan's mum Deborah. This is Dyl Friends.
He gives you a back rub and says, you know, you're going well, Brian. Oh, it's special.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Just keep showing up and find a way.
Cam was so nervous he couldn't swallow water.
Handed him a sheet of paper with 6 names and said, Chief, we've got to cut these 6 blokes.
Wow, shut up. I've just been barbed by a stingray, mate.
I'm just yelling at him, you saved my life, you saved my life, you saved my life. Thank you, thank you.
I spent the last, I think it was a couple of weeks in jail. The deepest, darkest moments often bring about our biggest highs.
The playing group that's already there is exciting, but there's a new crop to come as well.
Yeah, geez, he's already Darcy, isn't he? Already sounding like a bloody coach. Fuck no, mate. You're sitting with an old friend. You know that, don't you?
So what does this mean for our relationship?
Yeah,
Back to that question.
Yeah, what does this mean?
Holding pattern.
Footy and friends?
Footy and friends. We've built
because
some
Brett's
sort
been on the phone this morning
and saying, is he worried about the wounded bull?
Well, he's worried about the wounded bull, but he's also asking.
Is he asking for double?
He's asking if he can take both of the fees for it now. He's asking if he can take both of the playing fees.
He wants both the fees.
Yeah. He said he can play both roles.
He can play both roles and jump from seat to seat.
Yeah.
He's not bad, Brett, is he? He's looking. He forgot to put in
the invoice.
Yeah, so well.
Yeah, so he called me about the invoice too. I fixed it up. It's all good.
Look, I think there's. I've had to cut out.
Yeah.
SEN special comments over. Hey, gone. West Australian writing articles.
Piss them off.
Gone.
Yep.
What's just still sitting there as a lure is being able to be on a platform with my good friend Dylan,
and it's an independent network
and
as well.
My fellow Golden Valley product, Brett Delidio.
Yeah.
Who hasn't faced much adversity in his life. You know when people talk about adversity, let's rag on Brett when he's not here.
This is your words, not mine. I don't like talking to Brett when he's not here.
My word, Brett. Adversity, people scrapping and clawing for careers and...
he did a couple calves.
He did a calf.
Don't. Brett, I don't agree with this, mate. He
had to move away from Richmond to Sydney where no one knew who he was.
Yeah, it was a tough journey for him. Oh, no.
On his dirt bike ran out of petrol once.
Yeah.
Cut that out.
He's got in today. You don't want to talk about Brett when he's not here. We love what he's doing down there at Max Sports. So, geez, he's got a good job. He's got a fine young crop.
Waiting for the Christmas party invite.
This draft. Well, it's interesting now that football's about relationships and. It's quite, Darcy and I are quite sort of starstruck hanging out with a coach at an AFL club now.
We still don't know the title.
Whatever it is. And Brett's obviously one of the best managers in the game, bringing a young crop through, and there could be a bit of inside trading there with North Melbourne. Max, I don't want to.
Wouldn't even know how to wrap my head around that stuff. I officially haven't started yet, Dyl.
Okay,
so we can still talk as old friends.
All right, we're good.
Next year.
Yeah, next year wearing it. Hey, Clarko, he's actually one of my mates. Not even joking.
So did you and him link up?
So, funny story, actually, is I had him on the pod, a couple of years ago. I don't think he knew anything. I don't think he knew what was going on. But then I think from that, people would sort of heard him on being like, mate, I really enjoyed the pod. And I think as time's gone, he's gone like, maybe, that was actually quite good. And then from there...
He didn't know what he was jumping into.
I don't think he knew what he was jumping into. But... he did a great job, so gained a lot of love from that.
Yeah.
Then it would have been last year. I went to the golf in Scotland, and it was a time when Clarko was actually making his decision to go from Giants. Remember he was nearly going to go to the Giants or North.
Yeah.
And there was those two bits, and I was running into him.
It's amazing how quickly the footy landscape moves. I can't remember him being attached to the Giants, but it was as you mentioned that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was front of mind.
Because I remember that clearly, because I remember I was at the airport, we ran into each other, we were chatting, and it's quite funny, right, because I'm just a fucking idiot, obviously, but just a normal person, and Clarko, in my eyes, I still get scared when I'm with him, because he's quite a scary sort of, you're like, that's Clarko, he's quite scary, and we were just chatting together at the airport, and he was treating me like a really good friend, and I was like, I'm chatting with Clarko, this is great. And we were just chatting, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're sort of telling me, he was sort of telling me about it, and I was like, have I got the scoop here? I reckon he might go to the Giants. Yeah. Anyway, I went to North, but we were chatting at the airport. We exchanged numbers. We're going to catch up in Scotland. But he was in Liverpool, I was in Scotland. We didn't have time.
Was he going to see
Could you imagine that?
clubs? Was he going to see?
Yeah, he was going.
Big on professional development.
Professional development. He went to Liverpool and did a few things with...
I'll get to that. When he pitched me the role, he said, I'll take you for some development.
And I'd actually love to get into some serious chat about that. But yeah, we went over there. And then last but not least, I was like, look, that was an awesome experience. Chat with Clarko, exchanging numbers. I'm not going to hit him up for a coffee or anytime soon. But later this year, we were at the AFL Players Association, and I was doing a bit of hosting there. And I sort of like gazed eyes with Clarko from sort of like 20 metres away. He beamed over from about 30 with the big... And, mate, we just got into it again for about 15 minutes. I'm like... All of a sudden, I'm like best mates with Clarko. Yeah. So did he bring me up in the meeting is what I was wondering.
That was a long run-up. Yeah. That was like Dennis Lilly back in the 1980s at the Wacker, running in to deliver that. Well, he did not.
Okay. Good. Imagine if you're like, yeah, I know, Dill's been talking to you like, what?
I can see where he's infectious, isn't he? When you catch up with him and how did it initial start? Well, it's been a big year, obviously.
Congratulations, mate.
Thank you.
In all seriousness, you should be very proud of yourself. And I know you are, but you've taken incredible career. You come out of it hustling your way, not hustling, but we do joke about the invoicing and stuff, but we've both been on this trajectory of really trying to work it out, figure it out, doing RSN, SEM, we were doing all this stuff, doing the pod, and then you go to Werribee, take on a coaching role, and I think a lot of players just think, I'm going to fucking leave AFL and I'll go be a development coach. Literally, no offence guys out there, it doesn't fucking happen. Without a bit of effort and a bit of actually pre-planning. You did it the hard way. You went to Werribee. You coached a team of great players, but not AFL listed players, to a premiership, to a grand final, sorry. Unfortunately fell short, but you should be extremely proud of yourself.
It was a big year, and I was stoked and very proud of the whole club at Werribee. And very proud for what they're going. Very proud of what they're going to be as well. The retention of player is really strong. The staff satisfaction was really high. And I did walk away from it wasn't an easy decision. I was never someone coaching Werribee to try and platform my way into the AFL.
You just loved it.
We've spoken a lot about it. That, I was very happy doing what I've been doing, and it had to be something pretty appealing, which it was. And I'll get to the North thing in a second. But I think it's good to talk about the transition, and you hear a lot about it, the transition out of AFL, and players, and sometimes a lot of the time it's through no fault of their own, about how naive they are to what we talk about the real. And it's not big and scary and whatnot, but it is. There's a daunting element. There's a daunting element to it, coming out of a nicely paid job, very structured routine. The pressures of life or your world, a time trial, skin folds,
getting a training on time,
and then you get into where the challenges become, how am I earning money? What's my life look like in 2 years, 4 years? And you do start to doubt yourself pretty significantly. So I want to kind of double and triple down on my appreciation to the Werribee Football Club, because when I finished, I remember sitting in a meeting with the CEO and the footy manager at the time. CEO is still there, and I was one of those players that came out and was like, what can you do for me? How are you going to help me earn X amount of money? Project my career. So I came out probably wanting and expecting a little bit. I don't think I would have come across that brashly. But in your head, you go into self-preservation mode a bit. But I was very fortunate that time in my life to find Werribee again, and have that role, and have Choco Williams kind of saddle me up and do the assistant coaching with him. My biggest bit of advice, not that you probably asked, but the biggest, and you're big on this as well, to any athlete coming out of their sport, is to attack the next phase like you gave your professional sporting career. It looks a little bit different, but just keep showing up. Just keep doing things. Do things for nothing. That's a big one. Never start a conversation with, what's it worth to me? Just do as much as you can. Trial and error. I was big on that. I would have done 10 different things since I finished AFL footy. Coaching media, personalised coaching, all this other little bits and pieces. And then eventually it all just filters. It's like when you get the pasta off the stove and you sieve it through, and the water falls through, and what you need in your life, or what you need to consume that night, stays in the sieve. So a little bit of a rant there, or a little bit of volume, but that's been my 5 years, and it now lands me in a position where I'm back in AFL land, in the coaching space, and I'm still kind of intrigued as to whether that's going to be where I go as well. So it's all a journey.
No, it's good, mate. And we do joke, we do play around, but I'm extremely proud of you. In all seriousness, it's an honour to call you a friend, and I love surrounding myself with hungry people. And I think, there's always been that stuff with us of just chatting about, like, how can we just continue to better ourselves? Not to climb a ladder, but just to actually just get the most out of yourself, do what you're passionate about. And I think, seeing what you've done has given me a big pep in the step. But as you said, who knows? You might be doing something else in 3-4. I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. Who knows what's going to happen? But it's
which is the exciting part. I'm looking forward to ripping that mentality into clubland as well.
Yeah. How do you think you're gonna, like, you're going to North, right? Haven't been where they want to be for a long time, but they really do have an exciting young list. Clarkson at the helm, coming back in a good aspect, and everything sort of kicking off this season, 2024, which will be really cool. What sort of perspective do you reckon now, like, if you're planning out what you want to do and who you want to be for these players, like, how are you sort of, like, thinking about that?
Yeah, I don't have a set idea on it. I just I've had some good chats with, some of the coaching group at North at the moment, like Tom Lynch, who's been there for a couple of years, coaching their VFL. Just had a good catch up with Emma Carney, who's a development coach and plays for the AFLW side. It's all about, I think, from our point of view, managing this program and running this development group in a way where you bring your strengths as a coach and a person. Emma, I think, is a great example. The AFLW dual life, where they're committing so much to being an athlete, but don't get the remuneration. All that's a discussion for the side, but giving players perspective will be a big thing.
Yeah.
Like how lucky we are in the moment, or they are in the moment, to be lucky through their hard work, to be in the position where they're living out a dream. But how can we maximise that dream and make it fun as well?
Yeah.
My situation at Werribee this year was just do what you're doing now really well and enjoy it, and don't worry about outcome too much. Just enjoy the process of it, because then you give yourself a chance at results.
Yeah. Two things I want to say. One is, I think what you'll be really good at, and I'll actually hold you accountable to this, is the fact of
accountability is key, isn't it?
I will hold you accountable, because I hate saying, like, people might not. It's very hard to understand if you haven't been in a football. But look, there's a lot more things: a football club, soccer club, whatever club you're in. When you're really high performance, you do think about that shit. Like, geez, I didn't smother today. Whereas, as you said before, hey, I've got to get a paycheck for my family.
Yeah.
Like, there's different. It's the same intensity, but like total different things. So I think to be able to keep that perspective is going to be hard, but I think you'll be able to do it.
Yeah, why I know I'm not doing the right thing, but in the last 5 years, figured out where I want to go and what I want to be doing is, when I go home after coaching or have a day off, and in not an unhealthy way, but like, I've been consistently thinking about my players at Werribee for 3 years and their lives and the footy aspect of it and the coaching. And if you're not stimulated and fulfilled, you're going home at 5 o'clock and you're just disconnecting from it and not giving it a second thought. So I think the importance of the people that are in charge, and Clark has you joked about you catch up with Clark, but that's how I've found him in my very early stages of meeting him. It's just enthusiasm for your story and his enthusiasm for the people, and little examples, like we had a night away or a couple of days up towards Lancefield as a coaching group, and went to the pub for dinner that night, and he just doesn't take himself too seriously. Like, the pub gave us these big hats, like the big truckers, and I've seen you take the fist, like the things out there. Clarko's got it on. He's kind of like talking to the pub owner, like as if just about whatever it is, the land and greenery and farming, and it's like there's just that authenticity of great leaders. That I come back to the point. The biggest thing that a coaching group can bring is just the investment and the passion for the place and the people, which is something I'm looking to make sure I can fulfil. And if you hold me to account,
I'll hold you to account.
That would be appreciated.
I should come down.
What for?
Watch. I'm not sure.
Hey, we've got an open.
I'd love to be. I'll buy a membership. I'm going to buy a membership next year.
I appreciate that.
Kangaroo.
Would be a player sponsor?
I actually would.
Who do you want?
How much is it?
Well, you've saved on the invoicing. Yeah, well, actually, we haven't discussed that.
We haven't
yet,
discussed that yet. Yeah. Well, get the team to reach out and we'll discuss. I think there's.
Well, give us a player. Who do you want? I don't want you to go
who I actually really like.
Wardlaw.
No. You know who I actually really like?
Yeah.
I actually really like. There's Charlie Comben, obviously because he's a part of the fabric here. We love him. Big chom, who I reckon is going to take Ben Mackay's position. Down back.
That's the rumour.
Playing around the ball, big Clarko. So they get back.
It's easier back there.
Yeah.
Game in front of you.
So chom, I love. One player that I actually really like is bloody hell. It's not going to sound great because I've forgotten his name, but it's young.
Josh Goddard, Millerberg, but see, I know my players.
Young, orange-haired man.
Blake Jury.
Yeah, love him.
Yeah, off a rookie list. I think he might be a rookie.
I'm a rookie
still.
guy.
Yeah.
So, is he still there? Yeah, that's good. I like him. Let's get him.
It's funny. It's not funny. I did a thing on the radio when I got the job, and I got asked. I knew the question was coming. Who are you excited to work with?
Yeah,
and if
Zach Fisher.
Right. Yeah, he's going to
Yeah.
be under, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Saddling up with Zach as well. Griffin Logue, Darcy Tuck, a few old
a few
Fremantle boys, but I did the radio thing, and I was like, okay, they're going to ask me who are you excited to work with, and in my role, I reckon 98% of people get asked that. They think they know Sheasel and they know Wardlaw. In my head, I was like, not going to say them.
Yeah, good.
And then they came at me. They threw the question in at the wrong time when I wasn't expecting it. And I'm like, oh, gee whiz. Well, obviously, Harry Sheasel and George Wardlaw they're kind of helping mould their careers. But there's a good little crop coming. Cooper Harvey, Blake Jury, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Miller Bergman, Josh Goda. So some players that Charlie Lazaro, thirsty for opportunity.
Yeah, Lazaro.
And
he's been a bit injured of late.
He's kind of one of those players, been around, I think he's going in his fourth year.
Yeah.
And that's the time, fourth and fifth year.
Yeah.
Times are gone to be a kind of an out
you
player.
Gotta go.
It's moving day.
What's really exciting? Well, yes. What's really exciting for as well, like how cool to come into a club of working in development and being in charge of that when you've got to sort of draft as strong as you do with the picks you hold. Like how many picks you got? You got like 4 picks in the top 10 or something. 3,
5, I think, top 20.
Wow. And you can still get some steals in the 60s. Like, I was a 60.
Well,
so you can still get some great players.
Tom Stewart's probably a better example.
Yeah. Lockie Neal.
Lockie Neal was 57 or 67.
Are you going to pick up any 24-year-olds like yourself, running around?
I was 21 as a rookie. But, no, it's a good hand. And I think the people have opinions on how it's all landed, and Mackay's left, so the compensation for all of that. But
you'd be happy.
As soon as you're drafted, you're pretty quick, except for the number one, I reckon, at times. But I couldn't tell you who the number one pick was 5-6 years ago. It's again, you kind of filter back. It's always hard to remember specifically who the number one pick.
1 to 6, 1 to 7, I reckon.
Was he? You always think, was he a top draft pick?
Yeah.
You get them in, and then Ross Lyon was big on this. You leave the draft pick at the door.
100%. Leave your age, your birth certificate,
your
and
birth
your draft
certificate,
pick.
and you're in, and you're one of us. And it doesn't matter if you were Lockie Neal, last pick in the draft, or like Anthony Morabito as an example up the top. Your careers can go
either way,
different ways through circumstance. So it comes back to that first discussion. Like talent, it's great to get the talent, but how do you make that talent connect, commit, and bring the effort?
Yeah, love it. Hey, you're speaking before. Well, actually, one thing I'm excited about is early in pre-season we'll come down and I'm sort of, once we chat about Footy and Friends, and I chat with Clarko about hours and stuff like that. I'm sort of look.
So hang on, hours for you or hours for me?
For you, because as I said before about the Clarko thing, it was tongue in cheek. It's true, but it was tongue in cheek. But I'm a little bit pissed off that he hasn't spoke to me about any of your time.
Okay.
I would have, where we're at, I would have thought he would have called me and said, look, I'm going to approach Mick. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
And I would have been fine with it. But
I'll follow him up.
Yeah, follow that up. But I want to see who is impressing in pre-season when we chat later. Secondly, you mentioned before about personal development stuff. What was that discussion around, and what's interesting you in that space?
Yeah.
Because a lot of coaches do overseas at the moment. I think I saw Dean Cox, John Longmire, they're somewhere.
Pats game, I think. New England Patriots. What's that ground called? The Gillette Stadium? New England Patriots. Foxborough. That's the one. They were down there. You had no idea, did you? No. Well, he did pitch. He goes, he goes over. He's big on, I reckon, every year. I think, and I don't even know if this is true, I reckon he would do a negotiation for his contract. He'd be like, right, I want this much per year, and then I'll get this much to bang, get on the bird.
I think he went over and did I think he was telling us on the bod, he went and did a course at like Harvard as well, like a few,
So he does that. I think he's done, and a lot of the coaches do all that. I know the Freo crew went somewhere last year and did some. So McRae's over doing a leadership course, I think, at Harvard maybe. We're kind of throwing high-level schools up there without knowing the specifics, but I think it's more other sports. I'm really keen on the idea of
going to
England and
give me your top three. Like, if you think about where would you want to go, what would you like, or like who under? You got your Belichick's or your.
I think those EPL academies seem the way to go. Like. These
even watching
coming through when
seeing how he came in at 15 and stuff.
Do you have this with Juzzy when you want to go watch something, and then last night Riley's at a junket.
Juzz hates me.
She's at a junket. She's at a junket last night for school. So I'm home and I'm like, beautiful. What are we going to? And I'm like, watch Beckham. No, Riley wants to watch that with me. Watch this. Oh no, I can't pick up episode 4 because we're watching that. So what did I watch? 2013 qualifying final, Geelong versus Freo.
Wow, and she's not into that?
5th time.
Yeah, okay. No, Juz and I don't have very... It's actually one thing I really love about our relationship, but our Netflix, like, we don't...
No cross-pollination.
It's sort of it's very not cross-pollinated. Like, she's a very Bridgerton, like, Emily in Paris type operator.
So Riley gets
Age of Adeline.
What do you watch?
I'm more of, like, murder... horrific crimes.
You watch Billy the Kid?
No.
Stan?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Cowboy kind of.
I'm more Murders.
Dark.
Line of Duty, Ozark, Yellowstone.
Yeah. Grim.
That sort of stuff. And she's not really into it, which is completely fair enough.
So in answer to your top
EPL.
three, I think those academies like over there, because they bring in the kids at 12 and start to... And then they sell them. So it's not like... It sounds a bit,
no, it does. It sounds very weird,
They work their way through and
they
might come through the Tottenham Academy.
Yeah.
But how they make money off them is sell them to Everton for 50 million.
I'm just reflecting on my time as a young person and like what I would want out of a development coach. And like, I think what you're doing, but I'm just thinking if I was going to be
give
in
me
that
some
role,
advice. It sounds like there's some advice.
No, I'm actually being serious. If I was thinking in that role, I think the one thing that really annoys me in AFL a lot at the moment gets thrown around and it makes me spew, to be honest. It makes me spew is this whole thing that, and I think the way it's used makes me spew. What it actually is and what the truth of it is the good part. But you hear these fucking articles, they're like, he's a relationship coach. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I do not want to be mates with you, man. Like, I've got my own mates. Like, we don't need to hang out on the weekend. I don't want to be your best friend.
Yeah.
But that's what it's sold as, right? Like, your best friends with your team.
Yeah.
A relationship coach to me isn't it's honesty. It's looking at each other in the eye and being like, mate, this is what you needed. It's like being honest, being truthful, hard on them when they need to hear it, but then also pumping them up.
You have to have, I think the first thing on the agenda for anyone coming in is making sure you connect with them. You're not going to connect with player A and B the same, are you?
Yeah.
It's like, there's going to be a group of A's and a group of B's, C's. So finding some common ground, and being able to have authentic conversation. I think you're right. I think where you're going, maybe we had some experiences where you'd walk in and the coaches straight away are X's and O's and don't kind of get to know who you are or where you're from or what your mum's name is.
Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah.
But also, I think there's a mix where maybe I've seen it done a little bit, probably a little bit hard on that one, but where I've seen it done poorly is like, relationship, let's be buddies, but I'm not going to tell you the truth. And like, the coaches that go, mate, I'm aiming for you this week.
But you always,
and they go up there and they're like, let's kick this bloke and delist him.
And I've got some,
like, just tell me the truth.
I've got some examples of that at Werribee, like running, like the hardest. Mate, we made a grand final this year.
Yes, I went,
which was great. I saw you, AirPods in, walking across.
You nearly ran through my chest at the end of it.
Well, I haven't seen you all year.
Tried to congratulate him, and he's just walked straight through me.
I haven't seen you all year at a game. Didn't see him down at bloody Piranha Park in June and July.
I did come down for the lunch.
Yeah, you did.
At home.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
The marathon thing.
The marathon thing. For free.
Did your dad get anything?
No.
Oh,
he wasn't happy with that. He wasn't happy with it.
He wasn't?
No.
I'll shout out to him.
Get him a North membership.
So the hardest thing I've had, and you get told, it's like, as a coach or in sports environment, you want to make the grand final. You want to win a premiership. And it's all pie in the sky stuff. It's so far away, you're not worrying about it, but you're thinking about there's a thought about it. And yeah, I think I have a really good relationship with a young player at Werribee that's kind of, I reckon he's played 20 games across 2 years. And the hardest thing I've had to do was in the grand final with the match committee. It's built up over a few weeks. It's like, how are we sitting with this decision? And the decision is, all right, he's going to go out and this player's going well enough to come in.
Yeah.
It's never as easy as...
Well, that's the hardest part of coaching.
It is.
Yeah.
And I would have thought about that, for 80% of the time, more than anything else, for weeks and weeks about how those decisions are. And it's never done just, that's the decision, you walk away and you don't contemplate what the fallout is for player and club. And hindsight is was it the right decision? You never know. You can't operate in crystal balls. But as long as, and I'll always reflected, how did I do that? Did I do it well or did I not do it well? And again, they're all learning experiences. But I think at the core of it, and this player I have a really good connection with and a lot of investment in his career. So I sit pretty comfortably with it off the back of the investment in that person, a two-way relationship over a period of time.
I like that. Great answer. And I will just funnel back to what I said earlier, and I probably should have thought about what I was saying, but I think what I'm trying to say in a nutshell, what you've said there, it's being respected then being liked. Because I think, like, at the end of the day, you want a relationship with a coach that we speak about. It's like, it's not your mate that you call on the weekend. It's the person you go to when you need feedback, when you want to hear the truth.
Feedback is probably the point. And again,
that's a coach.
I think between player and coach, they're always going to have different thoughts on, do we feel like we'll give them the feedback on the lead up? And this might be round 18, where, again, I reckon the biggest bit of feedback, or I think the biggest perception as a player, and I probably lived it, and you were probably the same. In my last year at the Suns, I felt like I wasn't getting any feedback and what I was going to do and all that. But I think a two-way street. Like, it was on me a little bit to be able to reach out, walk in, and probably act with a little bit more perspective on the situation. But yeah, as a coach, you're always it's a very, very fine balancing act on how much feedback you give. And how honest and ruthless you may have to be versus how much you're putting the arm around. It's very, very fine balancing act.
It's a pendulum. Good point. The other thing I was going to say about that, I can't remember because I was thinking of the next thing, but with Werribee, you've obviously got some great players there. I saw on the weekend, which was really cool. Like, we've seen this a lot lately, right, with VFLs being feeding grounds for AFL clubs. So you look at someone like Western Bulldogs, who they draft a lot of people from. Box Hill. Footscray with Bulldogs.
Footscray Bulldogs, Box Hill
and Hawks.
Sandringham are doing it with Saints.
So they've committed from 2024 to draft one player from their VFL, which I think is such a good thing to do, because it actually would then just go, all those sort of 21 to 24-year-olds go, you know what? There's a fucking chance.
I'll play devil's advocate for you.
Okay.
Okay, so you promise one.
Yeah.
But you go and recruit 7 or 8 players.
Yeah.
So we're going to give one guy an opportunity. Do you have more fallout of the 7 or 8 you don't pick? And how does your attention... Like that's the challenge. And there's no perfect answer to it.
But I think it's almost...
I'm probably looking through a lens.
No, you're looking through the Werribee lens.
Yeah, standalone lens. We're hopeful 2, maybe 3, kind of get an opportunity. So, so I'll look through it.
That's a good point.
That lens as well.
But I think what probably Box Hill and maybe Footscray have done more, it's like, it's an unspoken sort of... It's not like we're going to do this. It's more like, hey, this is a feeding ground.
They've built that up through...
Yeah.
Like, they haven't had to go out and announce it.
No.
Because they've done it really well.
They've done it. Yeah. So I think, like, maybe if they just did it and
Carlton did it with Sincotta.
And Murkov, I think, as well, was playing a little bit of
I think he was playing like volleyball. I think
he was playing volleyball for Carlton Reserves. Yeah. So it's good. So back to that question, I don't want to spill any secrets here, but you're playing a grand final, you've got some really good players there. We laugh a lot about, I do.
Tommy Dribble,
who's a great VFL player. The young lad that kicks 6.
He wouldn't mind you using his name correctly at some stage.
I know, it's sorry, Tommy.
What is it again?
Gribble. Griddle. Corrected.
Scribble.
Is it Gribble? Tommy Gribble. He's actually a very good play. I think he hurt me once. And who is the young man?
Sean Manor?
6, Sean Manor. So,
what are you thinking? I think if you kick 6 in the grand final,
I think you're pretty. You're knocking the door down, aren't you?
he's probably saying, "Oh, I'm going about."
He's
the
probably
level.
saying, "Hey, I'm ready to go."
Against a pretty, they were littered with.
Are you banging on the door for
Sean?
Well,
oh,
yeah, I know you don't control everything,
no.
but like.
Don't
who
control
knows?
much.
Yeah, who knows? You don't know your fucking title yet. So who knows? You might be the janitor, mate.
Look, I think there's enough interest in Sean, and to play well. I think from my understanding, without spilling too much, and I don't know much, to be honest, but I know enough to know there's probably questions around, how does he go against in big games when there's some pressure put on him, like opposition put some work into him across the year, and that probably caught him out early, but the Suns put work into him in a grand final and he kicked 6.
It's pretty impressive. What, 20-something?
28, yeah. 28 and 6.
Oh, could have 30.
Missed 2.
Yeah, he needed another 2.
I'm going to have to show him the tape.
Yeah, you're going to have to show him the tape. No, it's exciting, mate. I think it's really cool.
I think, and I know nothing about this.
No, I know.
And this
I know.
is more my Footy Friends hat. I'm back. You excited?
You charging for this?
Yeah, we'll discuss it. Man. That was just assumed. No, I put my Footy Friends hat on. There it is. FF.
Yeah.
We're back. Brett, how are you, mate? How's your calf?
Yeah, just been on the bike, mate.
Yeah. No, he does this. Anyway, Brett. So, Lockie Schultz, who you love.
Oh,
and I love as well.
Lockie Schultz. Yeah,
gone to Collingwood.
Sean, that's a very similar type player, really.
I think Lockie Schultz is a great player.
Freo.
Right, but I think Sean Manor is as good and can have as much impact as Lockie Schultz.
Wow.
So, and similar age. Like Sean's 26. Lockie's probably a little bit younger, but they need that player now. Pick him up.
Wow, that's really interesting. I love that. Jeez, he doesn't disappoint Darcy. Always giving exclusives. Always giving exclusives.
Do you reckon that'll be a little cutout?
I don't
clip
do
that up.
We'll clip that up. Hey, so what's the go now? When are you back? When do you walk in? First day.
First day. Your footy contract. You remember this?
October 1.
November 1
November
to
1.
October 31.
Okay.
So when do you reckon day 1 is for the coaches?
That day.
November 1.
Yeah.
They might have pitched a couple in the lead up as well.
What are you thinking? I'm really interested in your get up when you walk in. Are you going to come in with like a backpack? Is it going to be like a footy bag?
Well,
are you thinking a briefcase?
What
are you thinking? Because I know you've thought about this and I'm interested.
Here's my conundrum. My conundrum is, Dylan.
Yeah.
I'm working 2 jobs at the moment, essentially. I'm wherever you're just still trying to fill the coaching job.
Yep.
So I'm seeing out the contract, and my contract runs to October 31.
They weren't happy with me wherever, by the way.
No, we'll come back to that. But right now I have a conundrum that day 1 of my obligations to North Melbourne new contract, I'm going to have to drive in the Werribee Tigers car because I've still got it.
You do have the Werribee.
Do you know what it's like? You know what that's like? And I'll jump out in North Melbourne polo. It's like a guy that wears a New York Knicks hat and a Los Angeles Lakers singlet.
Oh, my God. What are you doing for it? You're going to have to buy a new car.
South Marine. Oh, Mazda.
South Marine Mazda. Do you want me to set it up?
Please. For free?
Best in the business. We'll talk about it. South Marine Mazda, best in the business.
Actually,
and Mazda actually is committed to North as well. So that's great. Zoom, zoom. Very good.
I haven't got my kit yet, but I think
they've got good kits.
Just a backpack.
What brand are you with at the moment?
Puma.
Okay.
So Puma, which is a conundrum in itself because we're big fans of
JD Sports.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Which encompasses all.
It does. It does have Pumas there, so we can work that out.
Yeah. So Puma is who we've got, and Werribee Tigers car at the moment, but we'll shift into a South Marine Mazda, which will. Fantastic. I'm happy to plug it and drive it onto the hill there at Arden Street and
kick the footies in it. Get the boys.
Do the Choco Williams
back.
Yeah. Choco Williams used to do it. To hone the boys' skills.
Kick his in the back of his car.
So he used to drive a car around the oval at Alberton, and get players that needed to work on their kicking to try and kick it in the window as it was moving.
Oh, that's good.
So Choco's just driving around Alberton, and Kane Corns is trying to.
That's fantastic.
Peg it through the window.
Jesus Christ. I would have, with my penetrating kick, that would do a bit of damage.
Yeah.
Yours would be fine.
Windows down.
Yeah. just before we finish, I know you've got to go and do some coding or whatever. You did put me in a bit of an awkward situation. Yeah. Mutual friend of ours, Jackie Boy.
Jack Elliott.
He's a great man. He's on the board at Werribee. He loved my chat that I went there and told him about the marathon in front of the President's Lunch. And we've connected, well since then. He works at TLA as well. He's a great man. And we run into each other all the time, randomly. I don't know. I think he's following me. Maybe he thinks I'm the next coach. Not sure. Anyway, he's on the board. And he came to our Clubby Sports breakfast. And he barrows me up. He goes, mate, what's happening? Is he going or is he staying? I said, mate, honestly, Mick's a great friend of mine. This is nearly
in unison with when I made my decision.
Yeah, so this is like the day of, literally probably 2 days before you've told them what's going on. Yeah. And I didn't know anything. And I go, honestly, mate, he loves Werribee. He talks about it all the time. He loves Footy and Friends. He loves what he's doing. Flexibility, family, this. I'm like, it'd have to be a bloody good offer for him to leave. And I really think he's committed to the club. And Jack's just going, he's just smile, ear to ear. His mouth is hitting his ears, and he's just going, that's fantastic. We're building. I go, 100%. He's staying, mate. He's staying. The next day.
So you've gone
the next day.
I have this feeling.
And then
100%.
And then 100%. I can guarantee you he's staying at the club. The next day, I reckon I saw an article come out. Mick Barlow's taken a long-term deal at North Melbourne. And then I saw Jack a bit later, and he's like, mate, you fucked
wounded
me. Because he'd gone back to the board and said, look, I've been speaking to Dyl Buckley. He's one of Mick's good mates. He said he's staying.
Do you want me to... I'll run through how all that looked.
Please do.
Because it was a bit of a challenge for me. Because I was very... I've said a million times, I've committed to the year that we had at Werribee.
Yeah.
And
you love Werribee.
I do. Well, they gave me my chance to play. And now they've kind of progressed me. And it would have... And I was very... content. Well, not even content. I was keen to go back, and it's kind of with a heavy heart I have to leave. But Clarko kind of reached out late in the year, and when Alistair Clarkson, when he messages saying, "Do you want to catch up? What do you do?"
Off I go.
Off you go.
You go up. Like we did multiple times.
What do you reckon he ordered?
Coffee, or
I think hot chocolate.
That's such a power move too. It's just like because you got that. You're so confident in yourself, you just order what you want.
Yeah. Hot chocolate, 2 marshmallows. But that was very much just like, all right. And it was like just a first couple of rounds of a boxing bout, I just...
Miggy, what do you say? Miggy, what are you thinking? How's Dyl?
Then he talked about 2013 grand final. How's Dyl?
What's he up to, that bloody champion?
That's not how he speaks.
Okay, sorry. I'm sure.
And then things... And I was very clear with him. I didn't want to really discuss too much.
Where'd you meet up, by the way? Was it in public or?
Yeah, at I don't even know what it's called. There was a beach shack on bloody Port Melbourne.
So you went
Brighton Road.
Yep.
Yeah, down the back though.
Yeah.
But I was very much I don't want too much distraction. I don't want to be listening to too much information while I'm trying to prepare this side for a run at it. So pretty quickly, I teed up a few things in the week that my season finished. The Werribee season finished, and was very open and clear with the people at Werribee. I'll have these chats, and I'm going to make a decision really quickly, either yes or no, and not going to. And the opportunity was too good to refuse from where I want to go or where I see the next.
And
step.
I joke about with Jack as well, but he's obviously extremely proud, and I think the relationship you've got with the club and that they have with you.
I've still got the car.
You still got the car, but I think you're one of their own. You're a favourite son, and I think it speaks as much about you to them and them to you that they've been able to progress you this way and you be able to progress them that way. So it's very mutual, sort of. It's like me and the Giants, really.
Yeah, you've progressed them.
Well, when the thing is, Mick, and I don't say this lightly, but when you do leave a club, I left the Giants, and it's like ripping out one of the pillars of a business, and they're just starting to come back now. So I hope, and we can support Jack in the sense, and the Werribee team, guys, get around there. Let's get some.
Still there.
Let's get some. No, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
you weren't a big loss as I was, but let's get some people down there. I'll get a Werribee membership next year too. Yeah. It's on record.
Gee whiz!
I'm going to get a Werribee membership. I'm going to get a North Melbourne membership. I'll sponsor one of the players.
Nice. Who do you want?
Gribbs.
Okay.
He'd be expensive though.
Maybe I think they're all the same. But he might have a long-term commitment with someone.
I reckon he will. Yeah, I'll go.
Get someone coming through.
I'll get someone coming through. And
obviously you'll get down for your annual lunch.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. That was a bit embarrassing last time. And we'll go. But hey, mate, so good. Congratulations again. Can't wait to see what's in store, mate.
Footy and Friends.
Footy and Friends.
You name the date and the time, and I'll run it past Clarko.
Yeah, well, I'll chat to
text.
Clarko about it. We'll get a group chat. We'll get a what's he going.
Got to keep Butsy out of the...
Yeah. But it's good, mate. Hey, Darcy, we love North, right? See you, mate. Good stuff. Congrats.
Good on you, mate.
See you, buddy.